main mistakes in a raw food diet I did in 20 years living this way. So I have adopted a raw food diet almost 20 years ago because I was diabetic, about to do 2 surgeries, 1 back surgery, 1 nose surgery. I was really sick. And for sure, I had terrible lifestyle habits. But even after I corrected the lifestyle habits compared to what I knew back then, that means I started exercising many times a week, I lost weight, I stopped smoking and drinking, I started eating a healthier diet, you know, lean chicken with rice and beans and things like that. I got a lot better than compared to how sick I was before. But I was still sick. And then I started looking for things and I found natural hygiene. And one of the parts of natural hygiene is diet. I'm not going to talk about the other parts of natural hygiene today. The raw food diet is a huge part of hygiene. And a frugivore diet is also a huge part of the diet component, right? So fruits and vegetables are for sure the most alluring, interesting, delicious, you know, appealing food to our senses in nature. But when you start to eat raw foods, living in a big city and having never ate raw foods throughout your life, maybe sometimes I would eat a banana, you know, like I grew up without even eating salads. So my first salad, lettuce and tomato, was when I was 20 years of age. So you have a lot to learn, a lot to unlearn, and a lot of pitfalls that you can make in mistakes throughout the years. So the first mistake I did, for sure, was not eating enough vegetables. Fruits are almost the perfect food for us. It's for sure the most delicious food, but it's still not complete. So a lot of people try to adopt frugivore diets, go into fruitarian diets, but fruitarians, it doesn't exist in nature. It's an ideology created by humans. It's not something scientific or natural to us. So you have to understand that vegetables are a must for any diet whatsoever. So if you're going to eat a lot of fruits, you need to complement that with a lot of vegetables. I underate in vegetables back in the days. The thing I felt was always a need for something sweet. I wanted something sweet to appease my palate, you know? So the first mistake that you must understand and reduce or, you know, stop is not eating enough vegetables. Maybe you don't eat vegetables in a day. That doesn't create a big deal. But in the long run, you have to eat vegetables pretty frequently and in higher amounts. So I usually recommend my patients to eat at least 500 grams of vegetables per day. That means like a head of lettuce and 2 tomatoes. It's not that much, but for most people, you know, coming from a normal, regular diet, you know, that is the salad for a whole family instead of the salad, the amount of salad people are used to eat, like two leaves of lettuce and a slice of tomato. So you need the vegetables for minerals, for protein, for fatty acids. They create a balance. But I only eat vegetables at night. I don't eat during the day. So you don't have to worry too much about it. If you want some stalks of celery, something during the day, okay. But we usually reserve vegetables for dinner. We frugivore human beings, and also the anthropoid primates do the same thing for chimpanzees, for example. So the second main mistake I made back in the days was not eating enough calories. For sure, as soon as I started, you know, fruit seems more appealing to me. I didn't know how to do it. I look into living foods, you know, sprouting, etc. It was not appealing and it was not satiating. Fruit was way more satiating, right? But I was weightlifting and swimming for like 2 hours per day before going to raw foods. So I was pretty bulky, pretty heavy, you know, bench pressing almost 100 kilos, you know, and I started eating a lot of animal protein, a lot of rice and beans every day. And then I went into raw foods and I started like eating 3 bananas for lunch. You know, I almost disappeared. I got like really thin. I couldn't maintain the diet. I was always thinking on food. In the weekends, I used to go like to a restaurant and try to compensate for many days during the week going hungry. So I knew that I was doing something wrong, but I couldn't understand exactly why or what. And then I found Doug Graham's book, The 80-10-10 Diet. Thankfully, he made me understand that I needed more calories. And I started eating a lot more fruit. And I started realizing that the fruit must be ripe for me to eat it. Or else, you are not managing to eat that much fruit and not managing to satiate you as much. So the third thing that I made the mistake was eating when I was actually needing to sleep. Usually I got tired, and even more during now here in Brazil is around noon. So our cortisol spikes at 6 a.m. and then during noon it drops a lot because we are creatures that need a siesta, the short nap that should be taken during the day. But we usually don't know that, we don't do that, and when I got into raw foods, I got way more contact with my senses, with my biological needs, with my instincts, with my neurocircuitry, whatever you want to call it. But I didn't know that I needed a siesta. So I was always trying to eat to compensate my low energy. But if I didn't sleep well at night, or the right amount of time, or if I didn't take a siesta, I was always feeling that, lower energy. And I thought like more food would compensate it, more food would fix it because I thought it was hungry, but no. It was actually need for sleep. And for sure, if you don't sleep well, your hunger and satiety hormone gets unbalanced. That means ghrelin and leptin. The hunger hormone, the satiety hormone. So you need to sleep well to have good hormonal balance and to feel true hunger. That is completely different from what we feel in usual diets. And hunger felt like in the mouth, in the throat, and you create a lot of saliva. I have never felt that before going to raw foods and before really fasting a little bit without going lower body weight. Because when you have a higher body weight, it seems that you don't salivate over food that much. The fourth mistake people usually make, and I for sure made back in the days, it was people talk too much about low fat and fruits and vegetables, etc. But fats are essential. Although you can follow an 80-10-10 diet, you can have a little bit higher fat, but you have to understand that fats are good for us, but for sure in small amounts. I'm not suggesting you to overeat on fats, but at least a few times per week, eat some overt fats, as we call nuts and seeds. Like here we have pumpkin seeds, flax seeds, chia seeds, sesame seeds, and sunflower seeds. I'm going to do another video about them, but you got the idea, right? You need some fats to complement your diet. It's not refined fats, it's whole fats. It's not olive oil, it's whole food fats. You can see the other videos that I already did on this. I'm going to put on the cards in the description below about olive oil being a refined food. Most people don't get it, that if it doesn't grow, if olive oil bottles don't grow in a tree, it's not produced by nature, it's not produced by God, it's not man's food. It shouldn't be used as food, Oil should be used in machines, in cars, but not in food, not as food. Because nature already created its own oils, like the avocado, for example. This is one from my tree. It's black, but it's pretty ripe, and there you have all the fats you need. Fifth, not understand fruit ripeness. Vegetables need to be tender usually, and fruits needs to be ripe usually. So if you take a look, this is a really good quality exportation mango, as we call in Brazil. That means you can see its full colors. You can see it's really mango sweet taste, not just taste but aroma. And if you take a look on the flesh on the inside, is dark orange. Because if you pick the mango too unripe, it's not going to be as, you can take a look at these two mangoes. If you take a look about it, this one's way more red and colorful, and this is a little bit more green. Probably they didn't got enough, this one didn't got enough sun and didn't ripe as well in the tree compared to this one. So ripeness of food influentiate a lot, because the food is not going to be as tasty as it should be, as juicy and soft as it should be, and it's not going to satiate you as much. So you're going to look for sugar or salt, depending on what you're eating, right? Vegetables or fruits, but you got the idea. Nature seasoned the food for us. We are not the cooks in terms of fruit. So it's not like, you know, throwing in a pan, throwing some salt and seasons on it. Nature must have to season its food. And to season its food, the fruit must be picked at perfect ripeness. That's why tree-ripened fruits is always way much better than usual foods, than usual regular conventional supermarket fruits. And 7, last but not least, is for sure B12. I felt like a frugivore diet, a raw vegan diet would be enough in terms of, you know, I don't need supplements, I don't need nothing else, but no, B12 is an issue. If you choose to be vegan, you need to understand that B12 supplementation is an issue. Vitamins and minerals that can go low in a vegan diet. It doesn't mean, it doesn't have anything to do with raw foods, but it has to do with the completely exclusion of animal products. So in the long run, not in the short run, you can go low on certain nutrients, but primarily B12. So if you choose to be vegan, you have to supplement B12. I took 12 years to realize that, although the scientific literature tells you that, every professional tells you that, you know, I was feeling so awesome. My B12 was low after the 7th or 8th year, but I didn't have any symptoms whatsoever. I was strong like a bull, you know, sharp mind, so I felt like, no, B12 is not an issue. So then I realized that it was an issue. I started having symptoms, small symptoms, and then big symptoms. So I highly suggest you to don't believe that you are going to ingest B12 by organic produce, or, you know, like, although it can seem beautiful and philosophical and maybe there is some scientific literature on it, the science is clear. We still cannot trust mushrooms, fermented foods, algae, or, you know, like organic, you know, like residues of B12 in fruits and vegetables. No, you can go into trouble. B12 can actually kill you if you go too low. Mine was like really, really low. I had terrible symptoms until I, you know, started supplementing and correcting it. So this was my main mistakes in a raw food diet back in the days, because it has been 20 years now, right? And my diet has changed a little bit. I don't worry too much about consuming a little bit more fat. I eat some legumes, you know, like if I have some visit, I can steam some pumpkin or broccoli, or some legumes to appease the palate of my visitor. You know, I'm still 99% radical with my lifestyle and with my diet. But with the diet, I can go higher proteins, some like quinoa and lentils raw, like heat it a little bit, as we call in Brazil, amornar. It's like heating up for like 3 minutes. It's like pretty quick, but it does make a difference to the taste of starch, etc. It gets more like a cooked food flavor and taste and texture, right? But I'm pretty much still a frugivore for the almost 20 years now. Have fasted for 40 days on water. So if you like the channel, please comment below, give it a thumbs up, share the video, and remember, health is produced by healthful living. See you next time.